Hi, my name's Steve Apps. I'm chair of the ABP, and I'd like to walk you through our business psychologist certification process. The vision of the ABP is to be the home and voice of business psychology. And more specifically, we want to provide a meaningful home for people who apply business psychology practice. Whether you're a student or an academic in this field, a practicing occupational psychologist or business psychologist, and perhaps you work in HR, learning, resourcing, or OD, or you may just be an executive or a manager in an organization who is keenly interested in psychology. Um, if you're any of those, then we want to be a home for you. Our values are to be inclusive of everyone who's interested in psychology and business, and therefore to be accessible and open to you, to promote business psychology and its value in organizations, and to draw out and demonstrate best practice, which we do through our awards and training and speaker events, to help people build capability around business psychology, and to do all of that in a sustainable way. And we've taken all of these values into consideration in putting together our certification process. So why have a business psychologist certification? After all, there is already the chartership route through the British Psychological Society. And there are many people who are doing MSCs in business and occupational psychology who could choose that route. And what we're finding is that many students are choosing not to go down that route, and that's leaving them without a real home. And so we want to offer something for that space. There's a lovely picture of a little cat here, which I put to represent a quote from someone who said to me, "I can call my cat a business psychologist." There is no formal definition of what a business psychologist is. And if you look on LinkedIn, many people purport to be a business psychologist, but there is no harmonizing definition of what that is. And we want to help fill that and make that clearer. And really the reason for that is to continue to upskill and professionalize business psychology. So what we want to do through the certification process is to offer people who are able to demonstrate the required level of knowledge and experience and expertise to use the titles Associate Business Psychologist or Senior Business Psychologist or Fellow of the Association for Business Psychology. And further details on the criteria for each of those can be found on the website and in the papers that go into the detail of the certification process. The key features of our process are that we wanted it to be supportive and involve mentoring, so that as a applicant through the process, you have a mentor helping you through it, that it's an engaging process, that it allows for people who are very specialist in one particular area of business psychology, and equally allows for people who are more generalist in their knowledge and experience across the disciplines of business psychology. That we take into account a mix of evidence, both written, verbal, and evidence from references. That it's feedback driven, so the mentors, the assessors, everyone involved in the process will give feedback to help people reach the required levels over time. We want to have a community of practice and encourage networking amongst those people who have been through the process, and to make it very personal to each individual and to have it feel like a developmental process. We want it to be time efficient, and our plan is that for you to go through this is a 3 to 6 month process. We'd like it so that remote assessment is possible, to recognize that not everyone is able to travel around the country, so we will have online remote virtual panels. And successful candidates can become assessors as well, so that we grow the discipline and work and support each other through it. So here's an overview of the process. You would start with a webinar or some one-on-one support to explain the process in more detail to you. And then we ask you to submit a short application form, which has a small cost associated with it. We then look through that and we let you know whether we think it's worth your while going through this process, whether you've met a kind of minimum standard, if you like, of entry into the process, that it's worth your while and our while as well. Once you're through that process, then we allocate you a mentor. We can give you all of the forms, and you then spend time completing the forms and going through them with your mentor. At that point, you also pay fees, and which you can find on the website, and the mentor will check your references. Once you feel ready, you then submit your application. We review it, and we will be holding regular interview panels where 3 experts in the field will read through your papers and application papers and interview you. Based on that, you will hear the results of whether you've been successful or not, and be offered feedback whether or not you've been successful to support development. Assuming you are successful, then you will be given a certificate and be put onto a central register, a public register, and you'll be able to use an ABP kite mark associated with the level, the title which you've achieved. And if you're unsuccessful, then there would be an appeal process, and you would be able to reapply once you've met the conditions outlined in the feedback. And we will have quality control to ensure that we're being independently audited, to ensure we're being fair in our approach to this whole process. So you can get more detail on the framework when you go into the papers, the certification papers. But to give you a broad overview, what we're looking at is consultancy cycle, professional or business practice, and psychology practice. And you can see the details in there. So business psychology we see as bringing together an understanding of business and context and strategy and legal issues and ethics and so on, being able to sell ideas into organizations, whether you're in-house or not, to use the consultancy cycle approach, end-to-end evidence-based approach to business psychology interventions, and that you're working in one or more of the key areas of practice. So in selection and assessment, strategy and organizational effectiveness, learning and development, behavioral science, and human motivation and workplace well-being. And there's further detail on each of these in the certification papers. So if you are interested in learning more about this process, then please contact us at admin@theabp.org.uk. You can find that on our website. Register your interest, and then you can have an initial call with a member of our team. We can send you the papers, and you can start through the process, and we will provide ongoing support along the way. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you.